Welcome. Today, I'm here to tell you a story that the Smogon elite don't want you to know. This is a story of how the Pokemon that was almost the mascot of the entire series became viable in Smogon OU. Take that Pikachu, you worthless loser. Even with his own signature item, he is still so freaking bad. And to be clear, this will not include discussion in doubles or VGC. Clefairy has had success in doubles due to Follow Me and Friend Guard. That's nothing new. What I'm going to be talking about in this video is focusing in on Smogon Singles OU. It's a metagame of Pokemon with community-voted ban lists in a 6v6 single battle format that takes place on Pokemon Showdown. If you're used to these kinds of videos, you're thinking, oh boy, I can't wait to find out about how this random Trashmon was a fad and overused for 2 weeks over 15 years ago. So vague, which irrelevant, decade-old metagame did this silly anomaly occur? Generation 8. Yep, that's right. The same time as this and this silly little pink blob made its grand appearance. Allow me to set the stage for you. The year 2020, while a virus ravaged the world outside, a far more insidious digital virus ravaged the Pokemon world. Clefable. Pokemon Home had just dropped. Now, Clefable was already the second most used Pokemon and arguably best Pokemon, but Home, it just put it over the top. Clef skyrocketed a whole 8% usage points, putting it onto an insane 42% of all teams. But what changed so drastically over Home? They gave Teleport to Clefable. I know if you know the old games, you're saying, so what? Teleport does nothing in battle. Oh, but they changed it in Gen 8. It was changed to be a negative priority switch out move like U-turn or Baton Pass. Balanced teams soared in popularity. Clefable was now able to wish and then teleport, healing their strong, bulky attackers, such as Kyurem in Aegislash. Conservative play calling became the norm as battles rose in turn length. 60, 80, 100 turn games all became normal, as it became a slow grind to chip each other down, as Clefable healed up the Pokemon of both sides using Wish and Teleport. This dynamic made many players unhappy, and some found solace in extremism like hyper offense and stall. After all, if someone wanted to spend 100 turns doing nothing, they would just play GSCOU. Our story takes place in an innovation on the side of stall. A player had been trying to build a stall team and lamented in the overused chat room, which, if you don't know, it's a place where people on Pokemon Showdown go to talk about the current state of the OU metagame. But if you think too highly of it, why don't you picture a bar? A bar that had to throw out 7 surly drunks a night. And no intelligent discussion ever happened there. Like, picture a bar in Idaho. Now, the player lamented and wished he could put 2 Clefables on the same team. One intrepid OU chatter suggested, perhaps jokingly, perhaps not, that he just run Clefairy and Clefable on the same team. Inspired, he got to work on the team immediately and succeeding, but true success was still out of reach. Then, the thinkable happened. Arena Trap had been banned. One of the only ways to reliably break through the defensive core of Clefable, Corviknight, and Toxapex had been banned. Good night, Dugtrio. Everyone hates you a lot, apparently. Every single generation. Screw you, Dugtrio. Where was I again? Oh, right now. Now it's time for Clefairy to shine. Just 2 days after the Arena Trap got banned. This handsome individual posted this semi-stall team to the Smogon forums. First, claiming to have made to second best elo on the ladder. Then, in just a few days, updated it with proof of hitting number 1 and reaching the zenith of all Pokemon battling that all warriors strive for, the mark of a champion, with a Clefairy. But the question still remains, was Clefairy just a useless Pokemon brought along for the ride by a broken stall team like Larvesta all those many moons ago? No. I have alluded to Clefairy being a way to bring two Clefables to the same battle, but what did I mean by this? Well, in overused and most Smogon tiers, except for anything goes, there is a rule called the species clause, which most team builders will never encounter because they'll never even try to think of something so stupid. But you cannot bring two of the same Pokemon on the same team. So no, Lance, you cannot bring 3 Dragonites. Well, getting back to Clefable. Clefable has one of the most diverse move pools in all of Pokemon and can do a lot of different things. If you know Pokemon, that is still an understatement. However, at this time, Clefable was in a very interesting spot. On one hand, Clefable was the best specially defensive wall, especially with aforementioned Teleport Wish set. However, Clefable was also the tier's best breaker, with Life Orb, Calm Mind, Thunder, and Moonblast. It managed to obliterate all the defensive cores that people use, such as aforementioned Clefable, Corviknight, Toxapex defensive cores. However, due to the item limitation and EV limitation, Clefable could not be both a breaker and the best specially defensive wall in the game. You had to pick one for your team. Clefable does not have 8 move slots, although it wishes it could. But what if you said, no, I'll take both?
Clefable, shit. I'm gonna go Toxapex so I can start knocking guys off. He goes to Clefable himself. Why does he have 2? I can't believe he has 2. I cannot believe he has 2. It's just the sheer audacity to have 2 Clefables. I have to knock off here though. I'm Fizdef.
Enter Clefairy. On a Clefairy team, Clefable would be Life Orb with special attack investment, a little bit of speed for Corviknight. It carries Soft-Boiled, Moonblast, Calm Mind, and then a player had a choice. A choice of running Thunder, primarily to paralyze Pokemon that could take the hit, such as 80 Slash to set it up to win later in the game. Thunderbolt for more consistent accuracy, or Flamethrower if you were bad at the game and hated Ferrothorn. And Clefairy would take on the role as a specially defensive wall, in this case, replacing the Stall Clefable set with Stealth Rock, Aromatherapy, Soft-Boiled, and Moonblast. But how well did Clefairy perform as a replacement? Thanks to a Viability, which is a held item that gives all non-fully evolved Pokemon 1.5 times defenses, Clefairy only has slightly worse physical defense and marginally better special defense. However, the only calculation that this difference actually matters is in a battle against a Life Orb modest Hydreigon, which Clefairy had a much better chance to live against than Clefable. Unfortunately, there was actually a drawback to using Clefairy instead of Clefable in the role of especially defensive wall. That being, the damage difference was massive. Much like a 12-year-old standing up to his abusive father, little Clef could barely take out Pokemon that it was even super effective to. Like, even in the Hydreigon matchup, don't tell anyone this, but you don't actually kill them with Moonblast from full. So if you come in on a nasty plot and they nasty plot again on you, you die and he dies together. However, the damage difference matters much less than you would initially think. This is a list of Pokemon that commonly enough ran offensive sets and were OU by usage. In this video, I talk a lot about Clef, Corv, Pex because it is essential to understand the meta. The trio were so broken and influential that they deserve their own video, to be honest, but I will quickly attempt to explain how good they were. This is how Clef, Corv, Pex did against those OU Pokemon. Red line means that they completely walled them, and yellow line means that they needed some help or lost depending on the different sets the Pokemon ran. Multiple of Clef, Corv, Pex means that they need to work together to wall a Pokemon with the power of friendship. Except Mimikyu. He is weak enough that either Corv or Pex will do. If you have any questions about these interactions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I will answer in the comments because it would take too long to explain in a video that's not really about Corviknight or Toxapex. You can see that just these 3 Pokemon alone neutralize well over half of OU. Now, let's replace Clefable with Clefairy. As you can see, not much has fundamentally changed. This is due to a quirk in the Gen 8 decks where most things you need a Clef for are either 4 times weak to Fairy, so Clefairy still owns them, or Specs, and therefore unable to take advantage of Clefairy's lower damage output. So for Clefairy over specially defensive Clefable, you are trading a worse Zeraora and Keldeo matchup for a much better Hydreigon matchup. Keep in mind that Clefairy was a semi-stall Pokemon through and through, so the player dedicated the other 2 Pokemon to take on what the cute Holy Trinity could not, and Clefable would handle the offense with Life Orb. And that is how Clefairy popped off.
Hey, yeah, let's see how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay, hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra, extra. Walk with me, you know that I got it. Come with me, let's take a trip to the islands. We up on the jet, we'll do more than just fly on it. Stand on that hill, you gon' die on it. Boom, boom. Baby, I'm not one of them, you should try on it. Miss me with all that, I'm on to the next. Whip this up, I send you back to your ex. But good luck with that, this is big as it gets. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Yeah. Oh shoot, they don't let me shoot a whole clip. Firepower in this coalition.
Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Clefairy isn't cool. It's not splashy. She's a bring her lunch pail, blue collar, sneaky, bulky Pokemon. You won't see her on any highlight reels, but if you look at the tape, you see she puts up the rocks with the best of them. As Clefairy took the top spot of the ladder with an iron grip for the foreseeable future in March, others started using the same team and Clefairy. Some even made their own teams with Clefairy. Clefairy went from not even being featured in the usage stats to leapfrogging 50 places into a 96th in usage between the ever-famous OU threats, Espeon and Arctozolt, when it didn't have Slush Rush. At this point, Clefairy had only been discovered halfway through the month of March, yet managed to secure a spot in the OU usage stats. The next month, the month of April, Clefairy fell to 98th, but it actually saw an increase in percent usage. It even passed Sableye, who was both featured on the same team and was even ranked in February in OU usage when Clefairy was nowhere to be found. The main team she was featured on saw sustained success, proving that Clefairy was no flash in the pan. She was viable, an option on a type of stall that was here to stay. Clefairy had proved its worth in keeping the holy triumvirate of Bulk, Toxapex, Corviknight, and Clef intact. March and April were undoubtedly Clefairy's peak time in the OU limelight. In May, it unfortunately fell to 120th and plummeted below stall bedfellow Sableye, indicating a shift in the stall meta. The metagame had adapted to the new types of stall, part of the stall that featured Clefairy, and we saw an increase in Rotom Heat running more Nasty Plot Volt Switch, wearing heavy-duty boots to prevent stall from making progress by being immune to hazards and coming in on Clef, and well, Clef, and also Corviknight. Taunt, Calm Mind, Keldeo also saw success against Clefairy teams, because Clefairy would not do enough damage to it, and Clefable was too offensive and took too much to reliably switch into Keldeo. Clefairy's usage wavered as the meta adapted to the type of hard stall Clefairy found her niche in. All good things must come to an end. And unfortunately, in July, the DLC Isle of Armor dropped, putting an end to Clefairy's career and viability in Overused. The DLC dropped. Along with it brought new threats like Urshifu, Magearna, Marowak, Alola. You could say Urshifu Single Strike was a wicked blow to stall. Oh, sorry. With no Pokemon able to switch into Choice Band, Wicked Blow, Close Combat, and Poison Jab, all one Pokemon, for stall, that was highly disruptive. And Magearna, she found herself using stored power, Calm Mind, Draining Cliffs to plow through the unprepared, bulky teams that dominated the meta before the DLC. And Marowak, with the ability that hadn't been seen in ages, the actual ability to keep up Stealth Rocks against stall thanks to its fire typing, allowing it to cook Corviknight. Also dropping with the DLC, new defensive Pokemon became available, notably including Hippowdon, Slowbro, Chansey, and Blissey. Chansey and Blissey were especially brutal to Clefairy because with such high special bulk, it rendered almost every other special wall on stall teams redundant. Even Big Sister Clefable took a massive hit, falling from number 1 to number 6 in usage stats and dropping a whole 20%. Worse news yet, for cute little Clefairy was the whole point of its existence being called into question now. The reason to use Clefairy is to also be able to use offensive Clefable on the same team. With the DLC, offensive Clefable was still good, but no longer unwallable by any OU Pokemon. Magearna was not only able to 1v1 Clefable, but it also did a better job at being a Calm Mind win-con. Marowak Alola was also very bad news for Clefable, because it was able to wall offensive Clefable with its resistances to Moonblast and Flamethrower. Thanks to Lightning Rod, Clefable's powerful electric coverage amounted to nothing. With even Clefable trying to figure out its new rule in a world that seemed ever so hostile towards it, there was no room for Clefairy. Thus, Clefairy fell off the face of the earth, and her legendary 3-month streak of OU usage and viability came to an end. She fell off the map even below a meme Pokemon like Shelmet to add insult to injury. Just as quickly as she arrived, she was gone in a flash. And that is a story of how Clefairy was viable and overused. Hey guys, this video took a lot of work to make, but it was a lot of fun to make it. If this one does well, I'll make another one, possibly on Ditto in Sword and Shield. So what I wanted to do in this video is I wanted to bring more storytelling and personal connection to competitive Pokemon. So if you want more content like this, please like and subscribe, and thank you guys all for watching.